This is the Hyasynth, a custom synthesizer designed to allow electronic musicians to build an intuitive and embodied relationship with tuning and pitch. In this video, I'll demonstrate its core features. The Hyasynth has 4 knobs which control pitch. Each knob corresponds to a button on the central diagonal on the diamond on the right-hand side of the synthesizer. The pitch can be controlled incredibly precisely, down to 1% of a semitone. This precision allows notes to be finely tuned. Listen for the way that the notes beat against one another as they slide into place in this example. Tuning on the Hyasynth is aided by combination tones. These are the other 12 notes on the diamond on the right-hand side. In this diagram, each of those 4 primary pitches is labelled 1, 2, 3, 4. Their sum tones are the sums of their frequencies. They're in the upper triangle. Their difference tones are the difference between their frequencies. They're in the lower triangle. These are also colour-coded. So you can see, for example, that the red and yellow pitches, 1 and 2, combine in the orange pitches, 1 plus 2 and 1 minus 2. You can see them on the left-hand side of this diamond. This setup allows you to do a certain type of tuning called just intonation, when notes have simple frequency ratios to one another. There's a particular satisfaction to this kind of tuning, a kind of rich in-tuneness that is very particular to this approach. So in this example, the red note and the yellow note have a frequency ratio of 4 to 3. That's like a perfect fourth on the piano. Because they have that simple relationship of 4 to a 3, their difference tone is a 1 and their sum tone is a 7. That simple chord, 1, 3, 4, 7, sounds blended and smooth together, even though that 7 is quite different from tunings that you might be used to. In this transition, I move to a perfect fifth, a frequency ratio of 3 to 2. Again, that produces a simple combination tone chord, 1, 2, 3, 5, which also sounds very in tune. In both these examples, the bottom note, the difference tone, is an octave away from one of the main notes, which helps you find that tuning more easily because that interval is so easy to find by ear. In these subsequent examples, I move through more combination tone chords. You'll see that each forms a diamond within the diamond, a little diamond of pitches that all relate to one another by subtraction and addition. The volume of each of the 4 main notes and of the sum and difference tones can be changed by knobs at the top of the synthesizer. When you begin to combine a lot of these combination tone chords, you get this rich spectral sound that is one of the key appeals of the instrument. pressing the buttons again inverts the relationship. Now when dial 2 goes down, dials 3 and 4 go up. And in this example, dial 3 controls dial 4. These two opposite kinds of relationship are called parallel and contrary motion. And just like the main diamond, those relationships can be cleared with a simple shift press. I thought I'd include an example of finding a more esoteric tuning using the resources available on this synthesizer. In this example, I tuned the notes to have the frequency ratio 9, 11, 13 and 15. This set of relationships includes two prime numbers, 11, 13, which gives it a sound that is really quite different from ones that we're used to. However, because each note has a difference tone of a 2, in other words, every single note shares the same difference tone, that relationship can be tuned really quite easily, because you just need to tune the notes that they have in common in order to find this more complicated chord. So you can hear that at this point I'm trying to remove that beating between the two lower notes that tells me that they're not quite the same as one another. Here I'm cutting back to just the difference tones so I can really focus on getting rid of the beating. It's quite fine work. The differences that create the beating can be really very small. I judged that that was about as close as I'd be able to get. Notice that when I add in all of the combination tones, it creates quite a beautiful chord, despite the unfamiliarity of the chord formed by the central 4 notes. The Hyasynth does not feature a wealth of timbral controls that change the sound of the synthesizer, but the main 4 notes, the sum tones and the difference tones can be given different waveforms. Throughout this video, you've heard the sine wave. In this example, you can hear me switching to the triangle, square and sawtooth waves. It's these strange and dramatic sounds that particularly excite me about the instrument. But there are a million different ways that you could create sounds from this, and I hope to hear how other people experiment with it in the long run. Thanks so much for listening to this video, and do follow me on social media to get more music from the Hyasynth.